My name is Irene Watson. I'm a nurse practitioner, and I also live on Jackson Schoolhouse Road. I'm here to discuss some of the concerns I have regarding the proposed plant and the Departments of Health Advisory draft letter. I'm sorry to say that other than the noise impacts, I feel that the other health impacts have been gravely underestimated. The noise I do agree with, and I do think that the recommendations for the purchase of property subject to noise levels that cause serious annoyance and or sleep disruption are in order. As far as electromagnetic fields, I think that point's kind of mute because we already have them there, so there's nothing we can do about that. The drinking water, I do not agree that the MBTE contaminated wells are not a health concern at this time. We do have a law, as you're probably familiar with, that it has been determined that the Pasco wells cannot be used as a water supply. I must state it does not say that it cannot be a potable water supply. It says it cannot be a water supply. We know that there is an inability to remove 100% of MBTE from wells, and we know that the returns to the wastewater treatment site will be concentrated after the process at the plant. Although Invenergy believes that the water will be improved and have quoted Santa Monica contaminated wells, it's proved that this can be done. I would like to remind you that this took 14 years to accomplish and took over $165 million to operate and make that plant. I doubt, I'm not sure, but I doubt that Invenergy has that sort of treatment in store for Burrillville. It is interesting that Invenergy has asked Harrisville to use their water supply now, which will further deplete the aquifer. That's a meeting later on tonight, and deplete our aquifer more, which we're already in a state of drought this year. We know that water is essential to life, and we know that the ISO has shown us that the electric plant is not essential to life at this time. Air pollution, and specifically asthma, is one of my concerns. I'm most worried, as one of my colleagues, Kathleen, pointed out about the particulate matter, and the Department of Health summarizes that the air quality does not exceed the national air quality standards, and the cumulative impacts would not result in adverse health effects. I believe, as Kathleen does, that we're just on the edge of discovering the effects of small particulate matter. It is something that will be quite important in the future. It has now been linked to inflammation throughout the body, leading to cardiovascular disease, and it has been written that even small increases in particulate matter of 2.5, which is now considered below the EPA limits, raise mortality all cause of people over 65, and that data was gleaned from New England, from Harvard, Dr. Schwartz from the Harvard Environmental Epidemiological Department, by Medicare and zip codes in New England. I also, at the time of inflammation, would like to tell you a little bit about the research that I found on this, that it has, studies have shown that the exposure and the development of arteriosclerosis disease is caused by systemic inflammation, and human studies have shown that the effects appear to be mediated by inflammatory cytokines and elevations in C-reactive protein. Also, acute exposure of the particulate matter causes changes in the coagulation and platelet activation, which provides a more proximal link between particulate matter and coronary artery disease. So we know that C-reactive protein increases, and also coagulation malformations cause it. There is also considered rapid thrombosis formation due to it. As far as the pulmonary part of it, that's a particular concern to me. I know the people in the audience here know that I myself have asthma, but mine is, I guess, not as major a concern as it is to children. Children are much more susceptible to particulate matter, and I happen to have a grandson who has asthma, who will be living about 1,500 feet from the proposed power plant, and he also has a condition called central congenital hypoventilation syndrome, one of 2 people in the state of Rhode Island that does have it, and about 600 people in the world who have it. He has diaphragmatic pacemakers, and so air quality is of most concern to him. So when people glibly say if one person will be injured, I can tell you one person will be injured, I know of, and that will be my grandson. As far as the pulmonary concerns, it says that children who have been found to move from areas of higher to lower particulate matter concentration had increased growth in their lung function, and those who moved from areas of lower to higher concentration had decreased growth in lung function. Even children with better lung function were susceptible to new onset asthma when exposed to higher levels of particulate matter. The other concern regarding particulate matter is one that we don't always think about, but we always wonder, the March of Dimes and premature births. Well, the World Health Organization estimates that particulate matter, air pollution, contributes to approximately 800,000 premature deaths each year, ranking it the 13th leading cause of mortality worldwide. However, many studies show that the relationship is deeper and far more complicated than originally thought. Particulate matter is a portion of air pollution that is made up of extremely small particles and liquid droplets containing acids, organic chemicals, metals, and solid or dust particles, which actually are able to go deeper into your lungs. So it has been found to raise premature births. And you have also stated within your advisory opinion on page 16 that you admit it is not possible to predict asthma-related impacts specifically to the proposed facility. And I believe that there is some evidence that shows that we could be stronger on that opinion, that we could say that it will affect asthma. As far as our emergency response and prevention, I think we all can safely state here that we as a town or generally as a region are woefully unprepared for any catastrophic impact from this plant, and I believe that's enough said on that issue. Climate change and health simple, this plant does not help Rhode Island meet the Rhode Island Resilient Act and will not help us become fossil fuel independent. We know natural gas is worse than coal, even if only 3% leaks through the life cycle of the plant. Before the Aliso Canyon disaster in Los Angeles, the UNITA-based National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration found that 6 to 12% leakage rates for natural gas and found a 17% loss in the Los Angeles basin. So they were losing 17% just from leaking pipes and from emissions before there was a catastrophic event. Harvard studies have found that the U.S. shale boom overall has increased the global methane emissions by more than 30%. We cannot afford as a society to use more natural gas as a bridge to renewable energy. This is what we have been told over and over again, that we need to use it as a bridge. And I say it is just suicide. And my wish is that the Department of Health would come out with a stronger stance in opposition to this plant as a line in the sand message that we as a society in Rhode Island will not tolerate fossil fuel, but rather support only renewables going forward. We have a chance here to be a national leader that puts its citizens and its planet over money.